How you doing? How you doing? Welcome to my review and initial thoughts of Deadpool and Wolverine. This is going to be a lot of fun to talk about for a few minutes. So buckle in. I work at Alamo Drafthouse Cinema, and so I get to watch a lot of movies. I'm a fan of film. I always have been. That's why I have two channels. One is about music. One is about movies. This is probably streaming on both of those channels because I just think that this is something that needs to be talked about with my entire community. And yeah, so let's just start talking about it, man. So you won't often hear me say that I would like for a movie to be longer, that I would like for them to slow things down and give me more. That's almost never my stance on these things. But I wish that Deadpool Wolverine was a little longer. I wish that there were certain points in the movie that had a little more going into it, I guess is the right way to say it. I wish that they had extended some of the scenes in the movie. But yeah, that's about the only negative I've really got. Other than that, it was all positive for me. I enjoyed this movie quite a bit. I think that you couldn't have had another option for any more Hugh Jackman as Wolverine unless it was this. This was his victory lap. I think that he has earned the right to do this. It's not going to be for everybody. There's going to be some people out there that simply don't like it, don't want it, don't need it. That's fine too, man. We're all here. We all got you know, our own opinions on all this stuff. Hey Julie, how you doing? Um, but yeah, I got some notes written down here. Um, we'll go over some stuff. So heads up from this point forward, if you're not really trying to hear spoilers about this movie, I put it in the title, but people don't always read. So this is a spoiler review of the film. What's up, Jake? How you doing, my man? The dog pool. Dog pool was probably my favorite part of the entire movie, to be honest. The cameos in this movie were fantastic. So let's talk about that for just a minute. I don't have a whole lot of time tonight. I have a lot of work to do, but I had to do this. I've been trying to get to this all day. I wanted to do this hours and hours ago. The cameos were insane. I got to feel like a kid again. The way that I felt in this movie was similar to how I felt in No Way Home. When all three Spider-Men showed up in that movie, I cried. Like I lost all control of my emotions and I was like, yeah. So for anybody that's not familiar with me or my channel, I have a 3-year-old. I've got 3 kids. Okay. I've got an 11-year-old, a 9-year-old that have been around with me for quite a while now, but I got a 3-year-old. And when we were trying to come up with names, we couldn't come up with a name. And I said, as a joke, we should just name him after Spider Man. Ultimately, we did. His name is Parker. So I say that to say that I really love this stuff. It is important to me. I owned a comic book shop for a while and I worked at one for a while before that. I met some of my best friends in this planet from comic book stuff. Chris, Josh, met both of them at comic book shops. Hugh, I met at a movie theater. So all my best friends are from this world. Jake says, "Yeah, I felt the same way. I got so giddy." Joe Sue, what's up, man? How you doing? Okay, so the cameos. Let me tell you about the ones that I like the most. I liked Blade because I think that Blade is just I don't know what the word is like an absolute. It's a travesty at the fact that those movies don't get mentioned any more than they do. They're like the first MCU movies. Those are all Marvel movies. Blade 1 is probably almost a perfect movie. Blade 2 is I like it. Blade 3, I really like Blade 3, but Ryan Reynolds is in that, which I think is pretty cool. Uh, oh, it was Jessica Biel that was in that one too, wasn't it? I almost thought it was the chick that played Elektra, but it wasn't. It was Jessica Biel. The Blade cameo was amazing, and these are the parts of the movie that I thought I would like to have seen more of, specifically with the cameos. Um, I liked the Blade cameo. I liked Elektra was cool. Um, Chris Evans, I thought, did an amazing job in this movie. I thought that Blade Trinity was badass, Jake. I agree. I like the fact that you get Chris Evans, right? And you think in Captain America the whole time, and he's like, he's fixing to go and say Avengers Assemble, and then Deadpool even says it. As soon as he said it, though, I knew something silly was fixing to happen. and then he goes, "Flame on," or whatever it was that he said, and he turns into the Human Torch. The whole theater, it was divided in half. Like, half the people were cracking up, and the other half were looking around like, "What is going on?" For those that don't know, Chris Evans played the Human Torch in the Fantastic Four movies that were, kind of universally panned. Um, I thought that was pretty awesome. I really loved the Henry Cavill Wolverine. That was ridiculous. Although he's pretty tall fella, and he made Wolverine even bigger than he should have been. Hugh Jackman makes Wolverine humongous. He's supposed to be a pretty short character. There was like a little bitty Wolverine that was supposed to be comic accurate. Dude, there was so many like little things about this movie that were great. The music in this movie, we had Bye 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 at the very beginning, and Deadpool was doing like the little dance to it. I thought that was a little, I hate those songs, right? But it also came from a time where I was young, and so I relate to them. And for that reason, I appreciated that he did that. And then he probably is the same way, although he's married to like a starlet, a pop starlet, man. She's a not pop starlet, excuse me, like a famous like a super hot young chick, man. Blake Lively is his wife. She's beautiful. So I feel like he's more into that kind of world. He's not into punk music, is my point. But uh yeah, I'm getting tongue tied here. I also like the was it like a prayer? I think they did the Madonna song towards the end when they were doing that big fight. I think that's what it was. I think it was like a prayer. But the Madonna songs are always great in these movies. Let's see. Oh, dude. Okay, so my favorite two cameos were Gambit. How could it not be, right? We finally got Channing Tatum to play Gambit, not to play, but as Gambit. I thought that was absolutely fantastic. I think that we need stuff like that in these movies. We don't get the stuff that we often desperately want. And I don't know why. I'm assuming that there's reasons why. I'm not trying to sit here and complain about it, but I think it's so amazing when we get these glimpses into a world that we appreciate and that we desperately want. And so to have Channing Tatum show up as Gambit for the time that we had him was I thought was one of the coolest things that I've seen in a movie in a long time. But my personal favorite cameo appearance was what is her name? It was whenever X-23 showed up. What is her name in real life? Oh, Daphne Keene. That's right. Daphne Keene, who played X-23 in Logan, because Logan is probably a top 3 comic movie at worst. Probably the best Marvel Comics movie ever made, but it's definitely a top 3 comic movie ever made, I would think. And so to have her show back up and reprise her role as X-23 was so badass, and to put on her glasses that she got from the gas station in the Logan film was just like I mean, I literally I got misty-eyed at a couple points in this movie, and I'll get into some of that here in just a minute. Um, Dude, we got the brown suit Wolverine fight the Hulk for a moment. Again, these are just montage scenes, so they weren't long lived. But how could you not appreciate brown suit Wolverine fighting the Incredible Hulk? I mean, as a comic book fan, as a guy that owned a comic book shop, this is what we live for, man. When the Spider-Man movie happened and all 3 of those dudes showed up, I'm telling you, I was a mess. This is the stuff, man. This is the juice, bro. Jake says, dude, there was even a reference straight out of the Deadpool PlayStation game. It made me so happy. That's awesome. See, I wouldn't have caught that because I don't play games. Um, so okay, in a movie like this, do the villains even matter? I'm gonna say no. In this movie, we had basically Charles Xavier go bad. He broke bad. He had his like twin sister that looked like him, had essentially his powers be the villain. I don't even care because this isn't for that. We all already knew that we were going to get a happy ending, especially with Deadpool being in the film. Uh, and that being said, I don't think it's necessary to go into a crazy deep lore of a villain. You can tell that they really care so effing much, says Jake. I agree with that. I think that they care a lot. Now, is this movie perfect? No, no. But is it worth watching? Absolutely. Is it the best thing that Marvel's done in a long time? Yes. Is it the best thing that Marvel's gonna have for a long time? I can confidently say yes to that. But let's compare them to DC for a minute. DC, the most memorable thing that I can think of in DC is the Joker. That's crazy to me. We all love Batman. Batfleck is probably one of my favorites. I like Robert Pattinson as Batman. I just the Penguin out of the new Batman stuff is probably the best part of that movie. So you've got these villains who they create, or that they didn't create for these movies. Obviously, they've been around for decades and decades. But you've got these villains that they turn into these amazing characters for these films, and that's kind of what we go to DC stuff for. It's a little darker, a little more, I don't know, drab almost. It's darker. It's a little sad, you know. Marvel stuff has always been bright and happy. So you go to these movies for the heroes. Their villains typically suck pretty hard, and this is no exception. Their villain was pretty bad in this movie. I don't care, man. I didn't need the villain. It wasn't about the villain. This was about Wolverine. Honestly, that's what it was about. It was about Snick Snick. It was about Yellow Suit. Come on, bro. Come on, dude. That yellow suit was fire, man. That yellow suit was fire. Fucking Chris Evans, dude. I can't believe he played the Human Torch in this movie. That was so good, dude. Oh man, at one point they have the giant dead Ant-Man. Oh, bro, that was dark. In a movie that was this bright and funny and comical, it was dark, man. Lady Deadpool, all you nerds out there, bro, get your special sock ready. Okay, look, when he says that, when he says, "All right, nerds, get your special sock ready," bro, wish I had a special sock. I was at work in a theater full of people, but I also thought that dog pool was one of the coolest things. My daughter informed me that that was the dog that was voted world's ugliest dog, which is just why that dog's adorable. But that also made sense a little bit. That tongue is like 7 inches out that poor dog's mouth. Uh, I thoroughly loved dog pool. Nice pool was kind of stupid. I didn't like it. That long hair was annoying. I feel like that was on purpose though. Uh, Jake put the sock emoji on there. Facts, bro. Um, let's see. What else do I got before I get out of here? Oh, they did the Anchorman fight where it was like team versus team, and they collided with the villains fighting the good guys. I thought that was great. I also liked the old boy like side scroll big fight scene where they fought all the 100 Deadpool clones. Um, let's see. Oh, dude, when Logan's talking to X-23 and he says this is for Charles. Bro, do you wanna make me cry? Am I supposed to cry again? Because I cry every time I watch Logan. Thanks for that. Yeah, when he talks to her, that might have been one of the best scenes in the whole movie. The music, like I said, is absolutely fire. The theater cheered multiple times when I was in there. There was a few instances where the theater cheered. Okay, so let's just talk about it for a second. The moment in this movie, my favorite moment in this entire movie was I'm gonna start crying talking about this. He pulled the yellow mask over, and I literally went out loud. Oh shit! Like really loud. I about lost my mind. I about lost my shit. Dude, I never thought I'd ever see that, to be honest with you. Uh, Somebody said that Nice Pool was there so Ryan Reynolds could show his face in the movie without all the bullshit on him. What's up, Megan? How are you? Uh, Oh yeah, you don't want to be in here if you don't want spoilers. But thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. It's been a while. Haven't seen you last week or so, right? We missed you in the stream last night. But yeah, man, Deadpool and Wolverine, dude. I think that this was about as good as we were ever gonna get for a movie like this. I wish there was more Gambit. I wish there was more X-23. I wish there was more movie. I don't often sit down and say, I wish I had 30 more minutes of movie. Jake says, I went with my dad and I never cursed around my parents. I let everything out. Oh, yeah. I'm telling you, man, there was hooting and hollering. There, look, dude, I worked this movie as well. So, like, I was in there serving my customers. I've never been just okay with the amount of mess on the floor in a theater. I didn't even care, man, because I could tell people had a great time. This is a movie that the country kind of needed right now. We needed a thing. Like, I don't mean to get like political. I just mean like as people, like we just need to feel good. We need to feel good. We've had hurricanes, we've had political bullshit, we've had just hatred and dark times, and we got more dark times ahead. We need to feel good for a few minutes. And this movie does that. It gives you a good feeling. My grade out of 10, I'm going to give this an 8.5. I think it's almost at a 9. Not quite, it's almost at a 9, man. My only complaints are twofold. I guess two-pronged. There's 2 complaints. What am I talking about? I don't know how to talk. I'm trying to talk at a more, like, reasonable speed because 'cause I'm trying to not just be like, because I get all excited. Okay, so my first issue with the movie is that it wasn't long enough, so there was things in it that we didn't get to explore to the degree that I wanted to explore them. I've already talked about that. Okay. My second complaint, and my only other complaint, I get that it's Deadpool. Julie says, "I love this movie." I mean, I'm telling you, it was an excellent film. I get that it's Deadpool and he's crude and all that stuff, right? But dude, there were so many curse words. Like, I get it, right? But even in the comic book, there's not that many. Man, I got a 9-year-old and an 11-year-old that desperately want to see these movies, and I'm not going to let them. I can't let them see these movies. They're not old enough. And it sucks, and it's crazy because I was at the theater and there was all these kids in there, man, and, dude, you parent your kids how you parent your kids, they're your kids, but we wonder why our kids run around and do insane shit and get on YouTube and get on social media and say and do wild stuff. It's because we let 8-year-olds watch movies like this, and we let 8-year-olds listen to drill music, and that's why. So, maybe we should think about what our kids take in at young ages. And other than that, I thought the movie was fantastic. As an adult, I loved it. I say this as a guy that let my kids watch Terrifier. Not my daughter. I let my kids watch my boys watch Terrifier. My oldest is really mature for his age. He's autistic, and he's a high school age kid. I mean, a junior high age kid in a high school kid's mind. And then my little guy, I just thought he was going to run away from it, and he didn't. So I do feel a little bit of remorse for letting him watch that. But I'm not without flaws. I'm not going to sit here and tell you, oh, you're a bad parent. No, I'm just saying, like, maybe we should consider not taking our kids to these movies. Julie says definitely not for kids. Jake says nope, but it's Marvel, so kids are going to be there. Dude, the first Deadpool, I was sitting next to a 7-year-old. It blew my mind, man. But overall, 8.5 out of 10, in my opinion. Like, way, way better than I expected. I really thought this was going to be trash. The second Deadpool movie, I enjoyed it, but it's objectively pretty bad. I thought this was going to be like that. It is not. I do wish Cable and Domino were in there. Oh, that's another thing. That's the other thing that I think I would like to have fixed would be that Cable and Domino would be in this movie. I want like a real deal X Force movie, but they had like Juggernaut was in there for a little bit. I heard Psylocke was in there. I don't know if I saw her. Who knows, man? I don't know. There's so much to unpack. I only seen it the one time, so I need to go back and watch it again. It's really, really dial in and focus and watch this stuff. Looking for things and not caring about the story at all. But yeah, man, Deadpool and Wolverine was a fantastic movie. I applaud Marvel for doing it. I applaud Disney for taking that chance. I typically think Disney's a pretty gross company. I still think they're pretty gross. What am I talking about? But this is a cool movie. So I'm gonna get out of here. I gotta go take care of some stuff with my wife. But hey, man, like the video, subscribe to the channels if you haven't done so. Horror Hangout is back in full effect. Yeah, man, I've got a lot of stuff going on. So if you want to support, I would appreciate it. If you don't, no worries, man. It is what it is. You have a great day, anyways, and I'll see you guys next time on either the Horror Hangout or the Punk Rock Review. But I'll be there. Peace.